I have been a passionate advocate of organic farming for 30 years. I can still remember the exact moment when I knew I didn't want to use chemicals to grow our food. It was just 2 days after my husband Drew and I moved on to our original 2.5-acre raspberry farm in Carmel Valley, and I was standing between 2 rows of raspberries near a little orchard of fig trees, surrounded by the gorgeous green mountains, and the miracle of what was happening around me was stunning. I was 3,000 miles away from my 11th floor apartment on East 86th Street here in Manhattan, but I felt like I had finally come home. I just knew in my heart that we shouldn't try and conquer this beautiful earth with dangerous chemicals. Drew felt the same way, so right from the beginning, we made the commitment to learn to farm organically. Back when we started Earthbound Farm, Drew and I were 2 faces of small organic. We worked from sunrise to sunset 7 days a week and did every single job ourselves. We sold our berries from our roadside stand, where we explained to customers one by one why we believed organic was the healthiest choice. Back then, I could never have imagined that I would be standing here right now as the co-founder of a company that has become the largest grower of organic produce in North America, maybe the world. I have been a face of small... Thank you. I have been a face of small organic, medium organic, and as big as it gets organic. And one of the most important things I've learned throughout this journey is that every organic farm, from the tiniest local grower to the largest operations that supply our nation's supermarket, are an essential part of the healthy food revolution. Every organic farm, no matter its size, is helping to protect the health of the families who enjoy our harvest, the workers who labor in our fields, and this beautiful, bountiful planet. But too often, I hear the complaint that the organic industry has gotten too big. And too often, I hear large organic growers accused of being industrial and therefore not sustainable, while small farms, organic or not, are held up as the ideal. Today, I'm here to challenge these divisive claims. The first misconception I'd like to dispel is that the organic industry has gotten too big, because in fact, I believe the opposite is true. The organic industry is way too small. Size is a matter of perspective, and when you compare $30 billion in organic food sales to the food industry as a whole, you can see that we're still very small. Organic represents a mere 4.2% of sales in dollars, and even less in volume because organic food costs more. In fact, all organic food sales in this country are half of PepsiCo sales. And sadly, less than 1% of our farmland is organic. So that means about 99% is still awash in conventional agricultural chemicals. We don't want organic to be an exclusive club. The benefits of organic farming are just too huge. Earthbound Farm is a perfect example. We have 200 farmers that together grow on 53,000 organic crop acres, which annually avoids the use of 19 million pounds of conventional agricultural chemicals. So that's enough, imagine this, to hand a pound of chemicals to each and every man, woman, and child that live in America's 5 biggest cities, that's in 1 year, and still have hundreds of thousands of pounds left over. So the benefits of organic farming are reaped acre by acre. So when large conventional growers transition big blocks of their acreage to organic, they're making a huge positive impact. So instead of criticizing these growers for their imperfections, we really want to encourage more of them to transition to organic methods as soon as possible. The second misconception I'd like to challenge is the idea I hear a lot that large organic farms are industrial, and therefore our farming methods aren't as beneficial as small organic farms. But the truth is, it is not possible to grow organic crops industrially. The Union of Concerned Scientists defines industrial as having monoculture at its core, the practice of planting a single crop on the large scale with a heavy reliance on synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. So by that definition, a farm that doesn't practice monoculture and doesn't use conventional agricultural chemicals can't be industrial. To be a successful organic farmer long-term, you need to build healthy soil and a healthy ecosystem on your farm. You can't just substitute organic inputs for conventional ones. There are no organic fumigants to fight diseases. There are no organic herbicides to kill weeds. And organic insecticides aren't nearly as powerful as conventional ones. Earthbound Farm learned firsthand that nature has rules that can't be broken. We had growers try and fail to make organic farming more profitable by trimming tried and true organic farming protocols. Some reduced the amount of their acreage planted in beneficial insect habitats, but they had problems with pest infestations. Others tried rotating their crops less frequently, but they had problems with diseases and fertility. So what we learned is that organic farming techniques are effective on small farms and large farms alike. They are truly scale neutral. And I also believe it's a mistake to denigrate the use of high-tech agricultural equipment as industrial. Because large organic farmers use sophisticated equipment like tractors with GPS and automatic harvesters, they're able to grow large quantities of organic food as efficiently as possible. So now, organic food is more available and more affordable than ever before, and it can finally compete against conventional food on the supermarket shelves where the majority of food in this country is still being purchased. The third misconception I want to talk about is the belief some people have that small farms are always more ecologically sustainable than large farms. But the truth is that just because a farm is small doesn't mean its farming methods are ideal. Just like the little raspberry farm that Drew and I moved onto in 1984, small conventional farms, or most small conventional farms, use virtually the same arsenal of toxic and persistent chemicals as large conventional farms. And locally applied chemicals are never good for locals. Synthetic fertilizers kill the soil's microorganisms and pollute local wells and rivers. And synthetic pesticides leave residues on freshly harvested produce. They're dangerous for farm workers. They're dangerous for people living and working nearby and surrounding wildlife. So while it's critically important that we support our local farmers, it's also so important that we encourage them to adopt organic methods as soon as possible. And the last misconception I want to talk about is the criticism I hear sometimes that when organic gets big, it loses its soul. Because what I have seen firsthand is that being part of the organic food industry often opens people's eyes and transforms them. This is a photo of Otto Kram. His title is pretty corporate. He's Earthbound Farm's Chief Production Officer. Earthbound hired Otto away from a conventional operation to manage our organic farms almost 20 years ago when his 2 children were still young. And Otto told me that he fell in love with organic farming the very first day he came home from working in an organic field, and he could let his little son and daughter rush up and hug him. He explained that when he was a conventional farmer and he'd walk in that door and his kids would run to greet him, he would frantically push them away because he was afraid there were pesticides on his pants that would be dangerous for their health. So now Otto is one of the most passionate and committed organic farmers I know. Over the past 3 decades, I have watched in awe as the organic food industry has grown from a few tiny health food stores selling vitamins, nutritional yeast, and rice cakes, to now, when the majority of supermarkets in America offer a respectable selection of organic foods. And this remarkable transformation is proof of the power we all have as consumers when we vote for organic with our forks. I was actually moved to tears not too long ago when I walked into my local Costco, and right at the entrance was a huge organic banner with hundreds of organic items underneath. I couldn't keep my enthusiasm to myself, so I called my poor son, who was away at college, from the warehouse floor crying, and I said, "Jeffrey, 21 years ago, when you were still a newborn in my arms, Our salad was the very first organic item Costco carried. But back then, they wouldn't even let us print the word organic on the package because they thought it meant overpriced and worse quality to consumers. Today, I know for sure that a revolution has taken place in your lifetime, and I feel so gratified that we've been a part of it. So I believe if we want to improve the health of our food system and our environment as quickly as possible, change needs to happen from both outside the established food system in the form of thriving local organic farms and inside the established food system on supermarket shelves and in big box stores. But the good news in this big versus small organic conversation is that it really isn't an either or. Both small organic farms and big organic in the supermarket are growing side by side. Both are thriving and both are steadily chipping away at the status quo. Every time a conventional farmer transitions more of their land to organic, or another small organic grower establishes itself in our neighborhood, it's a huge victory. So I urge you to choose organic wherever and whenever you can, and be willing to pay a little more for it. And I urge you to unite in supporting organic farms of every size so we can keep this healthy food revolution growing. Thank you.